Hey everyone, Mr. Sugeno here. In today's video, I'm going to go over how the Joy-Con functions in Ultra Street Fighter 2. I'm not looking at Way of the Hado mode, I'm looking at how viable it is to play with the Joy-Con and whether or not you need to pick up a Pro Controller. So I'll start by saying that my Nintendo Switch is currently in docked mode. Here is my Joy-Con setup. I've had very good success. The control sticks work very well. Alright, so we're first going to go over how I recommend you set up and use the actual Joy-Con controller. I avoid using the D-pad as it's not a true D-pad and I have difficulties with rolling inputs. For example, if you're doing a fireball, there's a directional that you have to hit in between down and right, and it's that way, so you have to really just roll your hands or roll your thumb on those buttons. And on a D-pad, it's far easier when it's pivoting as opposed to this one, which are just standalone buttons. And that being said, I've missed some inputs just trying to use this more or less. I don't know if it's a true D-pad. It's not really a true D-pad. It's just these directional buttons, I'll say. I've had some issues using those. However, the control stick is actually very, very good, and I'm very, very surprised with how it functions. Now, the other unique thing that I like to do is I actually don't use these two shoulder buttons. I don't recommend using them either due to the shape of the Joy-Con controller itself. I find that trying to use these buttons, I can't get a comfortable grip on the control stick, the thumbstick here, and I find that I actually slip up some of the inputs when I'm trying to do them. So I actually don't use these at all. What I do is I use Y for light punch, X for medium punch, I use R for hard punch, I use B for light kick, I use A for medium kick, and I use ZR for hard kick. And I do this because I don't have to move my hands at anywhere on the controller in order to hit any of these buttons. Due to the position of my finger here, you can see it covers both buttons naturally. So I can either hit the punch or hit the kick, depending on how I tilt my finger, which makes life a lot easier in the middle of a battle. Alright, so now I'm just going to do a few Hadokens. Light, medium, heavy. And as you can see, they all came out very quickly and very easily. Now I'll do some Shoryukens, a light, a medium, and a heavy. So there's light, there's medium, there's heavy. You can see they all came out very cleanly. And lastly, I'll do a few Tatsus, light, medium, and heavy. So you can see they all came out very clean. I highly recommend when you're performing any sort of move within Street Fighter, using the Joy-Con to let it go after you're done performing the move, because if you hold it down, you'll get a lot of inputs that you don't want, and it takes very, very, very little time to center itself. You can see just fractions of a second. So that being said, this is a very viable controller. Ultra Street Fighter 2 plays very nicely on it, and I would not completely discard the actual just regular Joy-Cons in order to play Street Fighter 2. That's all I've got for today, everyone. Thank you, and take care. Alright, and now I'm going to show you how the D-pad functions and my issues with it. So I'm just going to try to do some Hadokens. I'll do a light, a medium, and a heavy. I'll do some Shoryukens. I'll try to do a light, medium, and heavy. And then I'll do some Tatsus, light, medium, and heavy. So here we go. Here is a light fireball. I missed the input. Medium, Missed the input. Heavy. Missed the input. Well, I finally got it there. So I can't do it consistently. And that's a bit of a problem if you're playing this online, even in arcade mode, because you'll miss a lot of inputs. All right, so let's try some Shoryukens. Light. Medium. Heavy. You can see I missed a few inputs there, actually just one. And that, again, in the middle of a match could actually cause you to do the match, especially in Ultra Street Fighter 2. All right, and now I'll try some Tatsus. Low. Medium. High. Those are actually, for some reason, the easiest for me to input.